Okay, exactly 3 o'clock. A very good afternoon to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. So today is Sunday, 19 March 2022. We will be continuing our sharing from this book, the 84th lesson of the 6th Patriarch's Platform Sutra, chapter 10, the final instruction. We are at page 63. Okay, as usual. We will compose our mind, develop the Saddha Virya, then mindfully we shall commence the Puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无弥勒佛，南无弥勒佛，南无弥勒佛，南无普贤菩萨，南无普贤菩萨，南无普贤菩萨，南无地藏王菩萨，南无地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨，南无佛菩萨，南无佛菩萨，南无佛菩萨。阿拉汉萨玛萨布多巴嘎瓦，布当巴嘎วัน当阿比瓦德米。สวากาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนามัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะบุตตังสรณังกัจฉามิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิดุติยมปิบุตตังสรณังกัจฉามิดุติยมปิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิดุติยมปิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยมปิบุตตังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยมปิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยมปิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิปานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิอาดินาทานาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิกาเมสุมิจฉาจาราเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิมุสาวาทาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิสุราเมรยามัจจาปมาทัฏฐานะเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิสาธุสาธุสาธุ Okay, let us pay respect to Puja. Padang Pujemi. Dhammang Pujemi. Sanghang Pujemi. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe, in their entirety, let the deities or Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalisu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhamang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakkamokadang Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicacarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati sattang deva manusanang Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipaseko Opanaiko Pachyatang Veditadbo Vinohiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Samicipatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidang Chattari Purisa Yogani Atha Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakeneyo Anjali Karaneyo Anuttarang Punyang Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you all can be seated and we can continue from where we stopped. We just finished page 62, now is the beginning of page 63. Seeing the sixth Patriarch, everyone thought. He never went to school, but he cultivated and obtained the fruit of the way. We can do it too. So here is commentary by Xuanhua. So I commented, I said, it is not the case that if you can't read, you can't cultivate. If you think only educated people can cultivate, you are holding a prejudice. So this is also according to Xuanhua, which is quite good. The sixth Patriarch appeared to cause us all to lay down such prejudice. As I see it, according to Xinhua, there are three reasons why the sixth Patriarch never learned to read. There is one more thing you should recognize clearly about the sixth Patriarch. He was not lazy. So this is all by Master Xinhua. Then Xinhua said he always practiced the Buddha Dhamma. He becomes enlightened, and after his enlightenment, he spoke the platform Sutra. Being able to read is just worldly knowledge. So the sixth Patriarch understood his mind, saw his nature, and opened up to his inherent wisdom. Because this sutta was spoken from the bright side of his wisdom, its value is incomparable. That's why they put it up as it is the same as sutta spoken by the Buddha. So do not take them lightly just because he can read. The sutta is now complete, and after teaching it, I make that statement to all of you. So this is Shenhua's commentary, his version. So what do you all think? I look at it slightly differently. Because like he said here, this one I quote according to what Shenhua said. He was not lazy. He always practiced the Buddha Dhamma. Do you agree to this part of what Shenhua has mentioned? Then I commented, I say, I don't agree. Then I explained. Huining actually doesn't need to practice. Do you understand? Because his nature was already there. And it was like that all the time, because he was born without the mundane mind. So when he heard something, he understood, and he awakened. Technically, he never practiced. He didn't even know what is the Buddha Dhamma at that time, nor the Diamond Sutta. Because the first time he heard about it, he has to ask the merchant who recited it, what is this that you are reciting? So how can he practice something that he doesn't know or doesn't heard about before? When he was with the hunters for 15 years or so, do you think he always sit and meditate? No. So he does not need to practice because his nature had awakened while at the fifth Patriarch's way place. And after he had understood everything, he does not part with that understanding because he was born without the mundane mind. So that was the main reason. He is a unique being. When he understands what the mundane mind is and how to use it, he came to great awakening. Just like what I have told you all earlier on in the Sixth Patriarch Platform Sutta. Then I also explained the supramundane mind will shine forth after the mundane mind collapsed. The very fine supramundane mind, which is always there, will surface. Otherwise, you cannot live life. He had this supramundane mind, except he didn't know how to use it. When the fifth Patriarch told him, he straightway came to great awakening. Then he understood that this former mind is a vehicle and tool for him to come to this existential world. And this supramundane mind, or for normal people is the mundane mind, you have to learn how to use it and yet not be deceived by it. Because it is not real. It is not you. It is dependent originating, condition arising. So that's how he understood the Diamond Sutra teaching. In true emptiness, all this doesn't exist. Yeah, all this Dhamma belong to the conditioned world. But within the conditioned world, all this Dhamma exists. That's why you must know how to use it. The user of thought and the physical body is very important. Where these are your karmically conditions, tool and vehicle for you to come to this existential world, to live life, to experience life, to go through all the karmic things, and to cultivate, and to perfect oneself. Once the user had wisdom, this one become a blessing to all, means the form and mind. It becomes beautiful. That's why he can use it to live life. Then he can teach, he can share. Then he only need to understand what that nature is. So when it comes to explaining the nature within, actually from his poem, you will know he had already understood what that nature is. But he didn't understand how to use that supramundane mind because he was born without the mundane mind. So when the fifth Patriarch explained that to him, he connected everything. Then he straight away realized the other aspect of the Dhamma that the fifth Patriarch didn't even tell him, such as nothing is apart from the true nature. How amazing the true nature is complete by itself. How amazing that all Dhammas come from that true nature. How did he know all this? It's because the moment he understood what the mundane mind and the supramundane mind are, he realized that everything he came to know came from that nature. And this is a very powerful understanding, because he already realized that nature. So all duality and all good and bad arising from that nature, he understands. That's why his teaching came from his inherent true nature. He inherited his past perfection and cultivation from his spiritual nature. That's how he became what he is. He does not need to meditate anymore or practice anymore. That's why I put here. He does not need to meditate anymore. He also no need to practice. So for people who has the understanding, they will understand why great beings like Huining need not practice to awaken, and why Huining can just become the way he is. After the 15 years with the hunter, he just came out and teach. He does not need to remember any sutta. He does not need to practice anything. Whatever you want whatever you want to know, you can talk to him. He will explain to you, because he will understand. Do you remember when he was at, I think, Shaoshi, when he met the daughter of a wealthy family who was a bhikkhuni? She was reading this Mahayana Sutta. Then she was introduced to the sixth Patriarch. Initially, she didn't know he was the sixth Patriarch then. But she asked him a question because she cannot understand that sutta. I think if I'm not wrong, that sutta is a Parinibbana Sutta. Then the sixth patriarch told this bhikkhuni, please read to me the sutta, and I will explain the teaching to you. She said, why must I read to you? I can pass you the sutra to read and you read yourself. And the sixth patriarch told her, I'm an illiterate. The bhikkhuni then said, how amazing! An illiterate asked me to read the sutta and he said he can explain to me the meaning of the sutta. So she was quite sarcastic. She was very amazed. And at first she didn't believe. But the way the sixth patriarch explained the sutta to her shows that he was very confident. That's why he said to her, yes, you just read and I will explain to you. Then the moment the sixth patriarch explained to her, she realized this guy is not simple. Bu Jian Dan means the sixth patriarch. Huh? The sixth patriarch, or this guy, must be the real one. So she went and informed the whole village, and all of them came together and paid their respect to Huineng and asked Huineng to stay and teach them the Dhamma. That's why he didn't need to read the sutta. And do you know, this line, I also don't know the Mahayana Sutta. I haven't read them. I only need an English translation or commentary of the sutta, that's it. Because I'm English educated. And when I was asked to start to teach the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta teaching, I had not even read that sutta before. I just asked Sister Yun Chan, do you have any book on this sutta? Then the moment I read the three turning from the English translation that Yun Chan passed to me, I understood straight away. I don't need to remember them, even though I'm English educated. And all these Theravada Sutta are in Pali, and Mahayana Sutta are in Mandarin. That is how the great beings, when they come, they are different. They don't need to carry anything. They don't need to remember or understand anything, because their nature, once connected, they will inherit from their spiritual nature. And all this understanding is already there inside their inherent nature. That's the reason why I kept on telling you all. So many of these teachings that I have taught you all, that I had shared with you all, I never learned them this life. Then how did my nature understand them? It must be from my spiritual nature. And I don't have to remember anything, because the understanding is straight from the heart, that nature. It just came out. It just come out. That's why no need to prepare, no need to do anything or remember anything. Can you all follow? So this is the unique part of great beings. When they come, they are very different. They only need to hear truth. The moment they hear truth, their nature is attracted to it. Their nature awakens to it. The nature knew the beauty of it. That's why they had this automatic ability to screen Dhamma from al-Dhamma. Yeah. Whatever that has the truth, they will know. Okay, I will continue. So we end, we finish. Okay, so at that time I think we all rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So do remember, 2nd of September 2018, we completed the 6th Patriarch Platform Sutra sharing. So this was about 4.5 years ago. We started in 2015, which means it took us 3 over years, 3 years and 3 months to complete that 6th Patriarch Platform Sutta. The Heart Sutta, we did it in 15 months, I remember. So this one is almost double, more than double the period, 39 months. So all of you have you all awakened, connected to your true mind? So that time when I asked, I believe some Kayamita have the understanding. And most of them who attended the class benefited in many ways, one way or other. Then we rejoice again. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Then I continue. I say, you all will surely connect. You all can have the faith. See, faith is very important. Then I predicted 4 years ago. I said, not long, some of you may be on the way, and some may connect already, which is very true. A number of them connect already. And for those who had awakened, they will understand, they will know. But this teaching is Pachetang, can be realized by the wise, each for themselves. This awakening, when it happens, your form and mind will understand, and it will transform. Then you will know your form and mind is different already. Then later on, when all this understanding stabilizes, you can also share and teach. No more problem. You will be different. And you will have a lot of gratitude and joy towards the Buddha, the six Patriarchs, and all those great beings who has brought forth the condition for you to receive such teachings. And all the great beings nature who have given you the blessing, protection, and guidance. After this, we will go to the blue book, Cultivating the Bodhisattva Way. Oh, yeah, this is the book I intend to continue after. I think by today we would have finished this book. Cultivating the Bodhisattva Way. Yes, the blue book. Yeah. Do you all want to make use of this next week to have a general discussion on the Six Patriarch Platform Sutta as the final wrap up? Then we end at lesson 85, which is better, right? So next week, we can make use of the class as an open discussion where we got you all to share and ask whatever question that you may have about the Six Patriarchs Platform Sutta. It is very good to have it as a revision and a great discussion, and a general discussion. All these are very beautiful conditions, and we can end this Six Patriarch Sutta, Platform Sutta sharing in a very beautiful way. Do you want to arrange for some puja and chanting? We can start the puja and chanting early. Make some offering to thank all the great beings for whatever condition they have given us to have such beautiful sutta sharing. And we should rejoice with all the Dhamma protectors too. Today they have given us a lot of very obvious hints to indicate that they wanted this special sharing. That's why today I knew I had to go through these final teachings of Huineng and finish it all, because up there they knew it's his last message, the final understanding. I think Sister Angbi didn't hear the beginning part of our today's sharing, right? It's because she came in late today. So she may have to go back and listen to the audio file, which is very beautiful. As shared by my nature, as shared, my nature immediately noticed a sign that my wife also can sense. PG, who fetched us here, also noticed something very strange happening today, because she was supposed to fetch me at 2:30. Then I said 2:30 is normally too early. So I said maybe 2:35 p.m. Then I don't know what happened. She arrived exactly at 2:30. When she arrived, she came in and told us, Matthew, we must go fast. I said, why? She said, it's going to rain. Actually, the sign of raining was there, and dark cloud, all those things, because of the very strong wind and dark sky. I said, okay, no problem. No need to hurry, I said, and don't worry. Then we went up to her car, with my wife helping me to take the cushion. The moment we entered the car, within less than a minute, the rain was pouring so heavily. Then PG and my wife say, oh, luckily we are in the car already. I always like to tease my wife by saying, your good friend means the Dhamma protector are taking care of you again. Then he said, no, it's just nature's phenomenon. All the way the rain was pouring until the moment PG made a turn into the Vihara's gate. And you won't believe. The rain suddenly completely stopped. Then I tease my wife again. Wow, your parami is very good. The Dhamma protector really loves you. She said, no, it's normal. That's nature's phenomena or Dhamma niyama. In Thai, they call it Dhamma or Dhamma's phenomena. So I just smiled and said, did you all see how Dhamma niyama manifests? Then we walked into the vihara. The moment we walked in, the thunder and the rain started pouring again. But by then, quite a number of Kayamita had already come in. It poured so heavily. Then do you know what happened later on? When we started the class, the thunder was so loud. When I told them this story, then I said, now get ready for puja. Before I even started the chanting, as I was kneeling there and I wanted to start chanting Namo Pen Si Si Jia Mo Ni Fo. That lightning strike was so loud. Oh, of course, only one very loud sound. Then after that, it stopped. Then a lot of things happen. You can feel it and sense it. You can go and listen to the audio file. That's why I knew something strange is going on. Initially, I didn't know what today's topic was, but I knew we are at the end of the Sutra sharing. Then when I continued to read the Sutta, I realized that we are at the final instruction of Hui Ning's teaching. That's why everything came out. Then when Sister Ingbi asked the question, it completed the whole understanding, and all these are so beautiful. That's why this Sutta have a lot of condition behind. Initially, Miss Lee wanted the Diamond Sutta to be shared. But I said to her, it cannot be done because I won't teach Diamond Sutta simultaneously at two places. Then finally, she chooses the Sixth Patriarch Platform Sutta. So it's as if it is meant to be very, very beautiful. Okay, do you all have any more questions? We still have another 5 minutes. Do you all have any questions? Don't have? Then we can end. So you can go back and read up a bit, listen to a recording. Then next Sunday, we can have our good final sharing on this final lesson. Means the revision and all those things. Then I read on. Last time during the 4 Foundation of Mindfulness classes, the final summary, last class, also turned out to be very beautiful. So whatever you want to know about the Sixth Patriarch Platform Sutta, the cultivation, etc., you can ask. Go back and read up a bit, go through whatever notes that you have prepared, then develop the question, meaning the condition for Dhamma to flow. Because this time, when I explain, it will be a detailed summary in the sense that you all have gone through the Sutra. And by now, most of you also can understand the teaching much better already. Okay, then we have the closing puja. So closing puja is standard. Then I read to you. We will recall to mind all of the wholesomeness that we have developed today. Then we will share this merits before being starting with the Devas. After that, we can invoke the blessing for our nation, followed by your aspiration. Then we finish. End of Sutra sharing. Of course, the chanting all we bypass. Okay, then we come to the short notes that were prepared for that day. Outline short notes. 6 Patriarchs Dhamma class dated 2nd September 2018. So if you want to listen to the audio file, you can click on that link. And there is this whiteboard notes. If you want to see them, you can also click on that link. All these links are in the website. You can go to the website. So now we go to the short notes. Chapter 10, Final Instruction. These short notes are also very important. It summarizes what we have gone through, but not in detail. To listen to the detail, you go through the transcript and the audio file. So here is just a summary. I think somebody volunteered to prepare the summary for me to go through. Then I edited it. That's why we incorporated it into the transcript book. Okay, point number 1. This is the short notes. When the class was about to start, Brother Teo told us that when Sister PG came to his house to fetch him and Mrs. Teo, Sister PG told them to hurry as it was about to rain. After that, after they have entered the car within less than a minute, the rain started pouring heavily. But surprisingly, when they arrived at Whooping Jingse, the rain abruptly stopped. So all this I shared before. And they went in without getting themselves wet. Then just before Brother Teo commenced the Puja chanting, the heavy thunder accompanied by loud sound of thunder and lightning came back. When we were in the kneeling position, just before we chant the salutation to the great being, Namo Pen Si Se Chiang Muni Fo and all those things, there was a very loud thunder. Brother explained that his nature can sense the sign, which was so obvious that day. These are nature's phenomena of joy signaling something important is going to occur. Brother predicted that it must be something important that we are going to share that day. Later, after we had started the class, then Brother shared with us the reason for such phenomena. The main reason is because we are going to discuss the final summary of the 6 Patriarchs teaching, last chapter. So the Devas, the Dhamma protectors, are all rejoicing as they are looking forward to such sharing. The southern teaching of the Dayan school or the southern school is also known as the Dhamma door of the southern teaching, as taught by Master Huining. The key word here is southern, which means sudden enlightenment or awakening, as taught by Huining of the southern school, as opposed to Sensiu's gradual teaching of the northern school. Point number 3. In fact, there is no such thing as gradual enlightenment. For those who understand, the moment you awaken, the wisdom will be there. So all enlightenment, technically, is always sudden. The graduate or northern school doesn't have such true understanding, and to them, they are of the opinion that the cultivator had to cultivate gradually. There are various skillful means, methods, and techniques. Basically, they are all thought-based meditation, including meditation objects. They have to cultivate this thought-based meditation first, then hope to become enlightened one day. So this is normally the understanding of most Theravada tradition and even Mahayana traditions, devotees. So most cultivators of the way, they think and they believe that you have to slowly cultivate until one day when condition is right, when everything falls into place, then you can awaken. I don't know about you all. For me, there is no such thing, because I know the moment you understand, you awaken. That's it. But in the early days, it is very normal for people to have that type of perception or thinking, because they use basically thought as the basis for cultivation. So all these thought-based instruments that they use to develop the understanding and the cultivation will limit what they can realize. And because of that, it's like very slow, very gradual. It like take them a long time to even understand certain part of the teaching. Then later on, especially after cultivating for many years, attending many retreats over long period of time, in and out of retreat many times, they realize their understanding still waver, fluctuate. At times, they feel that they have progressed. Then suddenly, like, they lost the momentum and there is setback. Then they realize it's very difficult to maintain the consistency of cultivation and practice. All this happened because they use their mundane mind, their thinking mind, to look at things, and to establish the criteria for progress and all those things. Or they have not realized their true mind, their awareness nature within. That's why it is very different. So most cultivators of the way, they believe what is being mentioned in the gradual teaching. But as we all understand, when Huineng came, the sixth patriarch, his first three hallmarks, the three great hallmarks of his teaching. The first one is to take you to the state of no thought, Wu Nian. That is your true mind, your silent mind, your awareness nature within. The moment you are there, you actually can awaken. But when you never realize that, you never have the ability to touch that, then you can never awaken. But that is the instrument that can allow you to meditate and to awaken, to realize the truth, to see things as they are, to insight into phenomena, to realize the three universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. And this is basically what cultivation is. So most people strive very hard, not to say it's impossible for them to make it. Finally, maybe after a long period of so-called thought-based cultivation, then they suddenly came to a new understanding that allow them to realize their true mind. Then after that, the condition can arise for them to have a glimpse of what that thing is. And then from there, they become different. Then they start to go back to cultivate the awareness-based meditation without them knowing it, that there is the awareness-based. They stay with that mind state that is quiet, tranquil, and still. And that is your true mind. But most of them don't know what that thing is. They feel that they are very calm, very peaceful, very still when they are in that state. Yeah. Because the sudden teaching, Huineng's teaching, hasn't come about yet. Then when Huineng's teaching come about, very few people can understand him. Very few people can have the awakening that he has gone through based on the 3 hallmarks. Even the first hallmark of no thought is so difficult to realize. What more the second hallmark of no mark and no dwelling. All these are not easy. So because of that, looking back, you can never blame them for believing in the gradual teaching, thinking that after a long period of very dedicated practice and cultivation, then the result will come. Yeah. But for those who have the understanding and the awakening, they will know. In fact, all those early thought-based practices, they are not really necessary. But it doesn't mean that you cannot go through it. You can go through it because before you have the understanding, most people go through it. But you have your past to guide you and protect you like my nature. Then when I go through it, I didn't do the same thing as other people do. Verbalize and all those things. I just know how to silence and go into anapanasati. Then after that, the mind becomes very quiet, very still. Then mind enters sati. Yeah. Then later on, of course, I know how to release it out and go into upachara samadhi to develop the daily mindfulness. Yeah. And from there, the movement, the transformation happen. Then the force support and all those things. So now that all these are in place, it will make the cultivation much easier. Now, my nature not only explain to you the difference between thought-based and awareness-based meditation. I even explain the 3 hallmarks of Huining and let you develop the understanding of the importance of sati, mindfulness, while cultivating both the formal meditation and the informal meditation. The formal meditation is to stabilize the awareness nature within. You can use whatever skillful means that you have, but develop the sati, mindfulness. Don't go into one-pointedness. Don't go into concentration. Don't go into strong absorption. Yeah. Until you go beyond upachara samadhi to be in the state of appana samadhi. That one is samatha, no longer vipassana. If you want to develop vipassana, you have to stay at upachara samadhi. Then develop the mind that is tranquil, still, quiet. Means the awareness nature without thought. But it's a free mind. It's not a conditioned mind. That one is very important. Then when you do that, you find it much easier to develop the meditation, the awareness base. Then the daily mindfulness, like the Abhijja Sutta, the 10th step, I already explained to you. Step 1, Kayamitas, we have as our grouping is called the Kayamita group. So Dhamma friends, step 1, we already have, we more than fulfill. We have very strong Kayamita support and base. Then second step of Avijja Sutta is you have the opportunity to listen to the true Dhamma. That one also we have a lot. The classes 3 times a week, and in between there are others. Then after that, you constantly listen, reflect, contemplate, and inquire, meditate. The first, second, and third turning wisdom can arise. Especially the first and second turning. As you develop this, you can also investigate into Dhamma. Then the third step, which is faith in the Buddha Dhamma and the Sangha, will arise. Then when your faith is there, you can actually move on to develop the initial wisdom, born of first, second turning, and finally stability of the initial wisdom, born of the third turning. That's why step 4 will be the arising of Yoniso Manasikara, wisdom at the moment of sense impression. So Yoniso Manasikara is the wisdom that will allow you to live life, to act. You don't need to act from memory. When you have Yoniso Manasikara, you can act, you can live. That's why step 4 is very important. Then as step 4 arises, your meditative mind becomes different. Then it stabilizes. Like that day, even Manyuan also share. Other Kayamita who has gone through also they have shared. Your mind tend to develop more understanding. The Yoniso Manasikara, wisdom at the moment of sense experience, will prompt you. Every moment of sense experience, it will prompt you with the right Dhamma, so that you will not be deluded by it, deceived by it, so that you know how to stay with it. You know how to develop the wisdom to be at peace with all this, whatever phenomena that arise, causes and conditions behind, all can be understood. And because of that, your mind has less and less of this reaction of mind. Means the mind does not stir like before, heedlessly. The habitual tendency, they slowly become like less potent. Then suddenly one day it loses its power and you realize you become different. You cannot stir and react like before. You can have more joy, like what Manyuan they all shared earlier on. Even Alicia, Poh Cheng, Ingbi they all, and some other Kayamita, they have also shared. You become different inside, and you don't. And when you are able to be more peaceful with almost every moment of existence or life, or every moment of sense contact or sense experience, then you realize your mind is more at peace. There is more equanimity. There is more stability. Means the duality does not trouble you anymore. So once that thing happens, then you realize your mind become more quiet most of the time. Then space between thought start to appear. Then there is clarity. There is more awareness. Then when that one stabilizes, together with the wisdom, you can see more clearly. You can understand more deeply. Then as this one continue to develop, your wisdom stabilize and make you different. Then the space between thought get extended until most of the time throughout the day you are just aware, mindful, hardly any thought. During that time, you will move into step 5, means your sati sampajana, means daily mindfulness and clear comprehension become stabilized. Yeah. Without yoniso manasikara, step 4, step 5 cannot happen. Yeah. So when step 4 becomes stable, then step 5 means mindfulness and clear comprehension of all action, all movement in the present moment. They will appear. Then your mind become transformed throughout the day. Most of the time you are just aware, hardly any thought. Then you become very sensitive. You can see things very clearly. Yeah. Then through this, you develop wisdom very fast. Every moment, every instant, everything you come into contact, when you contemplate and reflect, the Dhamma will be there. The understanding keep on arising. Then after that, when the understanding becomes so stable, then you will be able to move on to step 6, which is sense restraint. Yeah. When you have sense restraint, that means your precept is in order already. You cannot violate the precept already, because the sense restraint protect you. Then when that happens, when you cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path factor, you can move on from step 6 to step 7. Step 7 is you are able to arise the 3 way of right conduct. That one is very beautiful. When you reach step 6 and 7, you are at least a Sotapan, if not a Sakadagami. Means at least you have realized the first stage of sainthood. Otherwise, very likely, second stage of sainthood. Sotapanaship and Sakadagamiship. Then after that, you can start cultivating the Satipatthana Sutta. That is step 8. When you cultivate the Satipatthana Sutta after step 6 and 7, it becomes like very easy, smooth sailing. You can understand the sutta very easily, very fast, and you know what that thing is. Then when you cultivate this step 8, which is the 4th foundation of mindfulness, the Buddha predict you will come to realize at least anagamishan, if still a little bit of avijja, or the last 5 factors that the anagami has to root out are still there. Then later, when you root it out, then you can become an arahant, arahanta. So this will happen when step 8 has been properly cultivated. Then when you cultivate the 4 foundation of mindfulness correctly, step 9 will follow. Step 9 means the 7 factors of enlightenment that the Buddha talked about, the main factors of enlightenment, is different from the 37 factors of enlightenment. This one is the 7 main factors of enlightenment, and we have gone through them. First one is the mindfulness. Then Dhamma Vichaya, investigation of Dhamma. Then after that, Virya, Piti, Pasati, Samadhi, and equanimity. So these 7 factors of enlightenment, they keep on arising. So when they keep on arising, you will know you are on the right path. That's how you are destined for enlightenment, anagami, until arahantaship. The reason why all these are possible is because step 6 and 7 actually guarantee you the sati, the first factor of enlightenment. Throughout the day, you are just aware, mindful. Then because of that, the stability of it, you can investigate into Dhamma, everything about life, about the conditioned world. The Dhamma will arise. Then your faith become more and more stable, become unshakable. because they stand up to investigation. Then after that, the virya to cultivate will drive you. That's why the enlightenment factor of virya will arise. Then you will experience pity. Then your mind becomes so quiet and so still. The silent mind, the true mind, the awareness nature. And that is passaddhi. That is the fifth enlightenment factor. That's why you need the enlightenment factor. Then when you stabilize it, it becomes samadhi, the sixth enlightenment factor. Then when the sixth enlightenment factor, samadhi, is there, it can see things as they are. It's unwavering, collected. That's why at the moment of sense experience, it does not waver. It's collected. It's very stable. Then it can see things as they are. The memory will not come and interfere. Then the final, the last, what we call, the last 7 other factors that need to be rooted out, can be rooted out. And because of that, after you have developed the enlightenment factor of samadhi, then the final one that arises is when your wisdom arises, awaken and become very stable. The final factor of enlightenment, upekkha, equanimity of mind, born of what we call wisdom, not samadhi. Born of wisdom means the mind that is free because of that wisdom and understanding. No need to be assisted by a conditioned state for you to remain peaceful, calm, stable, quiet, and still. So that last factor of equanimity is what true enlightened being means, equanimity of the free mind, not a conditioned mind. So the equanimity of a free mind is the true awakening. Then you can develop all these 7 factors of enlightenment. You surely will go beyond arahantship. You can realize from anagami progressing onto arahantaship. Then from there you can take your bodhisattva vow to continue. That's why step 10 is the accumulation of it. You realize the consummation of enlightenment. The 10th step of avijja. The avijjas completely rooted out at step 10. So all these 10 steps of the avijja sutta, they synchronize with the cultivation. You have to go through them. Then when you have all this understanding, you become very different. So this is why the teaching is so unique. Okay? So I purposely take time to explain this because I want you to have the understanding. Okay, we go back to the notes. Because I want to explain the whole process. Go down to note number 3. I read again, then you know. So here, in fact, there is no such thing as gradual enlightenment. It's like what I explained. The moment you awaken, the wisdom will be there. So all enlightenment is always sudden. That's why when the Yoniso Manasikara stabilize, especially the 7 factors of enlightenment, when they stabilize, then all the 10 factors will be rooted out. And when it's rooted out, of course, you already gone beyond the sainthood way. In fact, enlightenment, even at the first stage of sainthood, is an enlightenment, and that one is also sudden. It's a glimpse of nibbana, cessation. In fact, first and second stage of sainthood normally is just a glimpse, not that stable, but good enough. Anagami onward, when you do the 4 foundational mindfulness, you will experience longer period of cessation, more moment of cessation, more stability of cessation. Then you understand the nature deeper, better. That's why you can develop more stability to awaken and develop the more stable type of wisdom that allow you to understand things much deeper. That's why you can root out all the other fetters that are still binding the being who has not gone beyond anagami and arahantaship. So when you hit anagami and arahantaship, then the last 7 fetters that bind the living being can all be rooted out. So because of that, the gradual teaching of the Northern School doesn't have such understanding, and to them they are of the opinion that the cultivator has to cultivate gradually via all the various thought-based methodology. Actually, you can bypass them. You don't have to. Because Hui Ning also never teach anapanasati or any of all these things. He just take you direct to the true mind. But to understand Hui Ning is a tough thing. Unless you are very unique from the past you have cultivated before, otherwise it's not easy. That's why the conventional teaching, thought-based, is still very popular. It's because people are more familiar with that, and those are the popularly accepted one. More mundane type of sharing and teaching that appeal to most people at that time. But when it comes to the 6th Patriarch, Hui Ning, the Southern School, is totally different, completely different. And these are for cultivators of the way who have already developed the past cultivation, the affinity with the Triple Gem, and who have the faith to actually learn from him, and develop the progress much faster. So now, with what I have added in, the explanation of a lot of the missing gap has been fulfilled. So what happened was in the early day, like we go through in the Lotus Sutra, the wonderful Lotus Sutra, the wonderful Dhamma, Lotus Flower Sutra. That one, it explained, initially the Buddha came, he teach the expedient devices, you remember, for the sainthood way. At that time you need that thing. But the ultimate supreme vehicle, which later on he teach to the Bodhisattvas, is the intent behind all this. But before that, he has to teach the expedient device. So what happened is, after Sakyamuni, I think almost, anyway, it's about 500 over years before Christ. You add another 600 over years, means 1100 years later, about. Then only Hui Ning rise to teach this southern teaching, and Hui Ning passed away at the age of 76, 713 AD. So about 1001 to 1002 after Sakyamuni was born. So what happened is, during this time, the initial teaching, expedient device that were developed earlier on, is already enough for people at that time. That's why with the coming of Hui Ning, Mahayana teaching came back to life. It flourished again. So this southern teaching, which actually was added, is to bring forth the teaching so that the Mahayana concept of the Bodhisattva way, the supreme vehicle teaching, can come about. In fact, the hallmark of Hui Ning, the first hallmark is the Bodhisattva ways cultivations, immediate cultivation. Means, to be a Bodhisattva, you must have gone beyond Arahant, the realization. That's why the no thought, no mark stage means the first and second hallmark of Hui Ning. especially the first homage, no thought. That is the beginning of the Bodhisattva way. Yeah. But if you look at the sainthood way, to realize no thought, that is the ending of the sainthood way. Means, to realize arahantship, you must stabilize the understanding of that true nature, the no thought state. So one is the skillful means ending stage. Then Huining continue with the Bodhisattva way, the beginning stage. Because without the first hallmark, you cannot get to the Bodhisattva way. Then second hallmark, of course, as you progress in between the no mark, you can also realize it. But to really establish and stabilize yourself so that you don't fall back from the Bodhisattva way, you need the third hallmark of no dwelling. Your mundane mind must collapse. Then only you can realize that, otherwise you can't. So because of that, if you look at the way nature has evolved, from the initial skillful device or expedient devices that Sakyamuni Buddha has taught through the Theravada tradition, then the Mahayana tradition came to bring forth the Bodhisattva way. Yeah. Then over the years, you realize after Huining, it flourished. But over the recent years, the last especially maybe 40, 50 years, the last 5 decades onward, you realize the teaching has actually decelerated. It has moved in a different direction. Yeah, it's like the Theravada tradition. Initially, it was very powerful when the Buddha came. But after the passing away of the Buddha, after the first 500 years, it deteriorated again. Then, until Huining came, it rise again, flourish again. Then now, you need people who have the better understanding to fill in the gap, to complement all this. So, off and on, there will be cultivators of the way who can actually add on to all this understanding. That's why all this cultivator of the way, if you move through, you will come to see and understand. Then you will appreciate how Dhamma has bring for all this. Okay, you bring back to note 3 or 4 there. Okay, I have to read through already. Okay, so we just go through. I think number 3 I have finished. Yeah? So we go to number 4. If in this life you encounter the Dhamma door, the sudden school or sudden teaching, you will be suddenly enlightened to your self-nature, because it takes us directly to our true nature, our awareness nature, the inherent nature within. And of course, when I say, you will be suddenly enlightened to your true nature, although it's written here self-nature, and see the honored one of the world. Then Huining said, not to see your self-nature, but to seek the Buddha outside. Here self means true nature, or inherent nature. If you think that way, you are deluded indeed. I now leave behind the Dhamma school, or the Dhamma door of the sudden teaching, to liberate worldly people who must cultivate themselves. See, the emphasis is you must cultivate yourself. Okay, move on. Meaning, if you can encounter this Dhamma door, the sudden teaching, this line, you can become instantly or suddenly enlightened too. We are realizing your original mind and see your inherent true nature, which is different from your mundane mind or thinking mind. You must cultivate the Dhamma door of the sudden enlightenment on your own, and you must not seek the Buddha outside of your nature. This is the key understanding. Understand your mind and see your true nature, your self-nature, your inherent nature. That is the way to realize Buddhahood and the enlightenment. Means the beginning of the cultivation of the Bodhisattva way. Then note number 5. The sixth Patriarch before his Parinibbana advised his disciple as follows. After my Parinibbana or extinction, do not act with worldly emotion. If you weep in sorrow, or receive condolences, or wear moving clothes, you are not my disciple, for that is contrary to the proper Dhamma. So this is the instruction given by the sixth Patriarch. Then the next point is, simply recognize your own original true mind and see your own original true nature, which is neither moving nor still, neither produced nor extinguished, neither coming nor going, neither right or wrong, neither dwelling nor departing, and you will awaken. Then the next one is, work to realize your true nature or inherent nature within. Understand your mind, then you will not have wasted your time. So all these are from the Sutta. They use the word self-nature, I don't know what. It's 本性, 自性, means original nature. The word should be original nature. After my extinction or Parinibbana, continue to cultivate accordingly, as if I was still present. Should you neglect or disregard my sudden teaching, then even if I were to remain in this world, you would obtain no benefit. So this is advice for the disciple. After giving the above advice, the sixth Patriarch sat upright until the third watch, and then he suddenly told them that time has come for him to go while meditating with them. In that instant, he is gone, means he realized Parinibbana. And at that instant, the room was filled with a rare fragrance, because the Dhamma, the Devas and Dhamma protectors, and other great beings and cultivators of great virtue and wisdom, they came to pay their respect. This was followed by a nature's phenomenon. The forest turned white, because the white rainbow light shone on it, and even the animals, trees, mountain birds, and grass, etc., show their spiritual nature and weep silently. Next one, number 7. So this is the history of Huineng. Born in the year 638 AD in Xingxi County, Yuanfu Province of China. He was an illiterate because he didn't attend school, and he was born without the mundane mind. Died in the year 713 AD at the age of 76. At the age of 24, the robe and insignia bowl was transmitted to him by the fifth Patriarch, and he became the sixth Patriarch. So at the age of 24, he received the transmission. Then for 15 years he was with the hunters, waiting for the appropriate condition to share his understanding with the world. Then at the age of 39, the condition arose, and he was officially ordained as a monk at Nanhua Si. Master Huineng's flesh body, together with his robe and insignia bowl, was eventually returned to Nanhua Si or Nanhua Temple after his Parinibbana. Okay. And number 8. Master Huineng's core teaching is to take the cultivator directly to the true mind, thereby enabling them to avoid the unnecessary thought-based cultivation or thought-based meditation. This is to start from the silent mind or true mind. Then number 9. The 3 important hallmarks of Huineng's teaching are to realize the state of no thought, realize the state of no mark, and to realize the state of no dwelling. No thought means the true mind, the silent mind, or the meditative mind. It also means no duality, no attachment, no suffering, etc. Where there is no mundane mind or sankhara activity, means no word, no concept, no duality, nothing. Like the sixth Patriarch's poem, Originally there was nothing. 本来无有 where can the dust lie? So that is where the true nature is, the true mind is. Then no mark means no mark of a self cultivating, no mark of others, and no mark of life, existence, and Dhamma, etc. Then no dwelling means spacious awareness without a center for the mind to dwell. And there are two types of non-dwelling mind states. The other type is specific phenomenal awareness. Then note, spacious awareness without a center is a static. It's in a static mode. That is mainly informal meditative state. And specific phenomenal awareness, active mode, can live life or for living. Oh, not bad, huh? Above draft outline short note was prepared by Sister Queenie, huh? So let us rejoice. Okay, we finish. Then we can have our 45 minutes of awareness-based meditation. You all can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. Try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness that you have developed for as long as you can. These are the mind state that you need to use to live life, to cultivate the daily mindfulness in the midst of life. These are spiritual faculties that can allow you to understand spiritual teachings, especially your faith, saddha, virya, then your mindfulness, and the stability of it is samadhi. With sati and samadhi, you can insight into phenomena. You can see things as they are, observe the truth and the reality within. That's why you can develop that type of wisdom that is beyond thought, beyond mind. Seeing things as they are means seeing truth, seeing nature's phenomena the way it is, not according to one's perception of it, not according to one's belief system, or even one's views, opinion, or conditioning. That is the individual's mundane seeing. Unless you are enlightened, then whatever you see is the direct seeing. Then you can develop the understanding. Otherwise, you need all this spiritual faculty to enable you to see correctly, perfectly. Meditation, reporting, followed by whatever question you may have. So, question can be anything about the meditation or the Dhamma or regarding today's sharing. Then we can also discuss on what we share today. Then your own Dhamma in daily life experience that you want to share. Okay.
Good afternoon, PG here.
PG, yes, you're supposed to continue. Yeah.
No lah, not me lah.
Oh, not you. Yeah. Oh, Alicia. Yeah, I forgot Alicia. Yeah.
I just wanted to say I would say how grateful I am actually for this sixth patriarch,
Yeah,
the
they call Sutra.
Master Huining, because
Yeah.
he is really one special being,
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
unique and very special being. Yeah.
And I remember at that time I just joined Bertio's class not too long.
Correct. Yes.
If I'm not wrong, I joined in 2014.
Yeah.
And not long after that, I joined the Sunday class,
Yes.
and subsequently, you all started on this Sutra.
Yeah.
So, of course, at that time, I have no idea what I'm listening to lah, because
Yeah.
I'm so new to the class. Well, I always remember being very happy during the class.
Yes.
For no particular reason. I just feel so happy.
Yeah. Because your nature can feel it. That's why a lot of them who attend is because their nature can feel. Then somehow it helps them. Of course, there are some with affinity with the teachings and with the Triple Gem. They also can benefit. They will draw the vibration, everything. True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. But you,
Mm.
how to say, like especially when we went for the pilgrimage,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can see that there could be some connection within my nature and that of
definitely.
the six patriarch.
Six Patriarch, yeah. That trip
So
was a very beautiful spiritual trip. In fact, a lot of things happened on that trip too.
yeah,
All the places we went to.
and it you see when I went there, first thing is being English educated. It was actually not easy for me to
Yes, correct.
understand when they
Yes.
are talking because I think most some of the talks that the tour guide I think was speaking in Mandarin.
Yeah,
So
yes,
I
yes.
just stand there not knowing much about what is being explained. But I
Mm.
think Bratio's explanation before we went for the trip and all that was
Yeah,
useful
help a
enough.
lot. Yeah. Mm.
Uh, the six patriarchs teachings, I will say in short,
Mm.
it is very meaningful when we already have some understanding.
Yes, yes, very true indeed. Yeah.
It sounds so simple,
Yeah,
but is we must have a bit of understanding that uh, we have to develop sati.
correct. You must have
Otherwise,
some base behind.
yes.
You
Otherwise,
must
it will
have
not make.
cultivate before with some basic understanding. Otherwise, not easy. Because his teaching is way beyond what normal people learn. You need to approach it from the understanding of that true mind. It's nothing to do with the mundane mind. That is the reason why his teaching is not easy for normal people. Mm.
Yeah, imagine if you have don't have any inkling of what how to say the sati and all this is
Yeah,
about.
then you can never follow him.
Yeah, then
Never
when you
follow
read,
him.
you go, how can this fella don't have a mundane mind?
Correct.
What do you mean by born without a mundane mind? Then
Yeah, they
it,
cannot understand.
yeah, it's so difficult.
Mm.
Luckily, we I had the opportunity. I have the opportunity to follow all this Bratio's
Yeah,
teaching.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it is really very useful, Bratio. It's
Yes,
only my own cultivation that is at a roadblock at the moment.
yeah, limiting
Uh,
limiting your ability to follow beyond what you are capable of. But don't worry, with the faith, it will come. It will come. Because most people cannot understand how can a person who is illiterate, didn't go to school, didn't know how to read any of these words, can be an enlightened being by just hearing. It is really amazing. Because you can't even read. Just imagine, how can you learn? It's not easy. If you, let's say, we haven't been to school, as an illiterate, we only know dialect. Then we pick up as we go through life. How can you learn things? Not easy. Not easy, really. Uh, in fact, basic education is useful. It gives some form of knowledge. But then, the truth is, when it comes to spiritual teaching, Dhamma, you don't need the knowledge. Uh, you don't really need education to understand. You only have to listen attentively. Uh, then, if it's the truth, it will stand up to investigation, and it will like have an impact on the individual profoundly. Uh, Especially all those beings who have cultivated before. The moment they hear truth, whether they are educated or not educated, they will know this is not something normal. That's why even when I was young, when they sent me to English school, standard 1, standard 2, I still last and second last in the school. I don't know the medium of language that they use to teach. So the teacher spoke English. All the classes they teach were in English. Then I came from a rural place where there is hardly anybody speak English and nobody understand English. That's why I remember even during that time I was 7 years old. I only knew I went through life. Then certain thing that happened to me when I was young, even though I don't have education, but my nature inside knew that I am unique. I am different from normal kids. And I can see clearly. I understand things differently. I do things differently. I see things differently. The moment I understand, I progress very faster. That's why when I pick up the language, I did very well in the education school. Standard 3, I start to progress. Then standard 4, I was put into a special class. They call it the 4 special. These are for talented students who can, because our school is a premier school, the best in Kedah. So that 6 years, if you are good, you can do in 4 years or no. You can skip 2 years or no, based on your result. So when I was promoted to that 4 special, it was because my result actually it enabled me to enter that class. So that's why I was able to be with those special students. Then from there, I continued to do well in school until from a rural area where hardly anybody can have passed Form 3. Means score A in Form 3 to go to Form 4. Very rare one. In my hometown that time, hardly any. You can find one. Wow, the news was spread already. Oh, so and so the son got a A for Form 3, now studying secondary school. So it was like strike lottery, very rare. Then to have somebody who passed Form 5, not to say do well in Form 5, it's like a miracle for that village. So when I did so well in my Form 5, when I scored, I was a top in my school. Then I got the gold medal for the academic side. Even the Hakkai Association also gave me the gold medal. The whole village don't believe. There was one guy I remember. I was mending my father's shop, the Yotiam, the medical shop hall. He came and buy something from me. After he bought the thing, he asked me, hey, you heard of anything? It seems our village got one guy did so well in Form 5. He scored 7 A's. Hey, at that time, 1971, scored 7 A's. It's a rare gem. Then I also don't know how to answer him. I look at him. I say, heard something about that. Then he told me, you believe? I don't know how to answer him. I said, you don't believe? Oh, I said, maybe true. I don't know. I said. Then he just walked away with, like, still holding on to his view, like, don't believe. But at that time, I don't know why. I can't tell him it's me, because if I tell him it's me, he will tell me off again. So might as well pretend not to know anything. Then just let it be. So those were the condition at that time. That's why what I want to explain to you is, or you all is, it doesn't really need education to let you understand certain aspect of life and spiritual teaching. But for those who have the past when they come, of course the education will help them a lot. It will enable them to have the ability to understand more. And it's also like meant to be very strange. My whole family, my father sent to all Chinese school and Mandarin school, except me, the guinea pig, went to English school. It's not to say I'm the guinea pig. I look back, it's my nature that wanted to go to English school because I supposed to come this life to help the English educator understand Dhamma. And I supposed to come out this way. Because being English educated, I can understand Mahayana teaching.
Yeah,
Which
thank you,
a lot
Matthew.
of experience. Yeah, that's why that will give faith to people like you. Because you look at a lot of Kayamitas, most of them English educated. Uh, uh, they may not know much Mandarin, but of course there are some who have Mandarin base, like Brother Song, Alicia, they all, Ingbi, they have Mandarin base. Then I know how to choose a wife that know Mandarin, and I want her to be a teacher. Then everything fall into place. Then their last criteria very difficult to meet on is it must be a family with a lot of problem. Where I can only save one family. Uh, because I made that vow when I was in, I think, standard 6 or form 1, and I saw my brother, they all, well, my brother, elder brother was 6 years older than me. After form 3, they all get married, very early, and then a lot of shotgun marriage, a lot of problem. Then I tell myself, wow, if I were to decide to get married, it's to save a family, otherwise I wouldn't get married. And when I was young, I already had that intention not to get married. Then I go and make that vow. I don't know why. I go and make that vow. But I saw what happened to my brother's classmate, elder brother's classmate. So because of that, when I grew up, when I went to the uni, then in my third year training, I was posted to my wife's hometown. That's where I met her. Then everything fall into place. She just a primary school teacher that time, the teacher training. She knows Mandarin. And simple family, of course, very complicated family, a lot of problem. Oh, then everything just fall into place. That's I meant to be, will be. So a lot of things normal people cannot understand. That's why I used to tease her by saying that you don't know only. I say your cable very big. Oh, this cable is really big. It's because of past affinity and all things. So when it comes to spiritual understanding, spiritual cultivation, it's all about your affinity with the triple gem, your past, your karmic inheritance, your spiritual inheritance, your affinity with fellow cultivators of the way, great beings, Kalyanimittas, all this count much, much more than the other things. The other things are not important. That's why, based on what we have gone through, like your case, you also know, being English educated, you felt blessed and fortunate that you can go through and receive all this sharing until today, where you appreciate a lot of these things, and it has helped a lot of Kayamita to develop the understanding of life and transform their life for the better. Even Mangyuan has changed so much. There are a lot of other Kayamita, they benefited so much. Of course, they will connect and have the faith and the understanding. They move on a lot faster and they develop a lot of deep joy, deep understanding. So this is what Dhamma is, and we should all actually rejoice and appreciate uh, the good karma that we have, the good affinity that we have to be part of the Kayamita family, and to receive all this sharing and teaching. And this one will be very useful in the course of time as we evolve as living beings over long periods of cultivation and eons of perfection and cultivation. So all this we will come to understand. Even this sasana, this era, later in your cultivation, a lot of you, like what I predict in the book early on, 4.5 years ago, that a lot of you all will progress and some will connect and all things which came true. Then in future, when you all develop the cultivation further and become like one of the great beings nature, you look back, you thank your good karmic nature and spiritual nature for having this affinity with Kayamita and great beings this life during the sasana of Sakyamuni. This actually for those who have the faith and took the Bodhisattva vow, the yellow card, it will make a big difference to your cultivation. It will transform you. And this is the one that will speed up the cultivation and very fast the cultivator of the way will progress. Okay, yeah, sorry about the interruption. PJ, you can continue, yes.
It's okay. But what I want to say is like when we joined this group, to learn the Dhamma, we actually had no idea that it is going to be so
Yeah, it
much
is
different, so much
correct.
different from what I
Yes,
had
yes, yes.
expected,
From
right?
the
Yeah,
normal
yeah,
Buddhist
the
classes, yeah.
usual
Buddhist
very
classes.
dry
Yeah.
teachings,
Yes,
and
yes, yes, yes.
learning the sutta and all that.
Yes,
I
yes,
think
yes.
if I had gone through that type of teachings, I probably won't be able to
Yeah,
last
you will
long.
not be able to continue for so long. You
I think I will
remember
leave
what
very
I
fast.
told you all now in the early days. Yeah? If I share this again, I think you all can recall. Do you remember on many occasions, I hinted to you all during the early days. I said, later in the cultivation, when you all come to know what my nature is, the way I share and all this, you will get a shock of your life. Remember? I mentioned this
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
Very few people can understand that time. And now they understand. I say, when you come to know what my nature is, you will get a shock of your life. Because this type of teaching doesn't come from an ordinary cultivator of the way. This type of teaching can only come from that type of being that has developed that type of perfection cultivation. So it's very different, but meant to be. That's why I look back. My nature is I'm not interested in going after people and getting people to join the class. No, I leave it to nature. That's why that word, 无为, econ and flow, 无为, means, like I used to explain to you all, in fact, all of the Kayamita, almost all of them, most of them, I don't know you all. Even those who were my uni classmates like Suyan Mi Fong, I never go and persuade them and encourage, hey, you must come. No. Sometimes I give some hint, but that's it. Like in the early days, I think I tried to help Mi Fong because she was my uni mate and we were in the Buddhist society together. And there was some affinity. But cannot. I realized that time, cannot. The message cannot go through. So just let things be. Then later on, somehow, condition arise. Then only thing fall into place. Then only they start to develop understanding. So even people whom I may be like in the lay life, close to or good friend or what, I never force them or encourage them. Even Sam, I know him very well, good close family friend. He know I teach Dhamma, but I never force them to come to a class. No, they attended the class a while. Then after that, because their past is different. What they want in this life is different. They know enough to live that type of what they call proper Buddhist life. Means she believe it. They all, but all these people have one thing common. They believe in not creating negative karma. They believe in that. Don't want to like harm people, deceive people, cheat people. That one they have that type of principle, but they are not interested in spiritual thing this life. They only learn enough to understand life and live life. Finish. Then they pursue what they like in life. So everyone is different, no problem.
Yeah, spiritual development, I think, Bharatiya, is something that has to be from, I would say, from your nature, that you want to
From
take
the
it.
individual,
Yeah, it
your
is.
past.
Yeah.
You cannot
Otherwise,
force
you
people.
won't be able to sit and listen to all this, Bharatiya.
Cannot. If you don't have the affinity in the past, you cannot. Uh, Even my own children, I never force them. I just let things be. If
Yeah.
there is condition, it happen. No condition, just let things be. Yeah. But
Bharatiya,
my teacher,
I'm a typical example lah.
yeah. Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Just imagine me listening to the Dhamma,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's beyond your wildest dream, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like
And
you
now
mentioned
that
last time.
yeah,
No.
now that going through all these years of
Yeah.
into Dharma, it has helped a lot,
Yes.
definitely a
Yes.
lot
Mm.
to understand life, uh, and circumstances too, lah, Matthew.
Yes.
Why
Yes.
life is
True.
what it is and all that.
Mm.
Hello,
No, Amitabha.
Amitabha,
Yeah.
Brother Teo and Mrs. Teo,
Yeah.
and all Kayamitas.
Yeah.
Brother Teo, can you hear me clearly?
Can clearly.
Can
Yeah.
Okay. Because I couldn't hear myself clearly, because today I'm
Oh, we
trying
can hear you very
with
clear.
the headset. I'm trying with the headset because
Oh, okay.
listening will be better. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sound audio will be clearer with the head.
Yes, correct. Versus the normal one without the headset.
Correct.
So so I'm trying out this the first time I'm trying out. So but I cannot hear clearly what I'm talking, because with the headset it
Oh,
kind
no
of
need
blocks
to
my
hear. We can hear you clearly. Uh,
I
we can
cannot
hear you
hear.
clearly.
Okay. So actually, Brother, I have a few things to share. Thank you,
Oh, good. Sadhu.
Sister PG for nominating me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, what I wanted to say is about this six Patriarch Master Huining. Actually, I have a lot of gratitude, like Sister PG, a lot of gratitude towards
Yeah.
him. Yeah. But at the same time, I also wondering how come no temple is teaching this, which is so useful,
Very
so
few.
good,
Very
Brother.
few. Seldom you
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seldom I hear actually
Yeah.
nobody knows
Because
much about it.
this teaching is very difficult to understand. That's why the six Patriarch platform teaching. To teach, you must have deep understanding on. Otherwise, you totally cannot understand what is being related in the sutta. But the sutta is very abstract on it, very, very abstract. Uh, and the three hallmark of feeling, if you are not a cultivator, maybe you can understand the first hallmark only, second and third. Most people cannot. That's why it's very difficult for people to teach. Most of them, even if they teach, they are also very theoretical in their approach, basing on sutta that they have read and the commentaries. Then they follow their way of teaching and sharing. What you say is very true, Poh Cheng. Yeah. You can't find hardly any. The more common are the Heart Sutta and all those things, but six patriarch very rare.
Yes, because yesterday I was talking to Dhamma friends, whether she heard about this or not, but she never heard about this six Patriarch platform sutra,
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably the temple also not teaching such sutra lah. But
Correct.
actually, like I attend Kuming San, right? Kuming San also never teach Six Patriarch Master Winning Platform Sutra, you know.
Oh,
Like I said, also only teach like Heart Sutra, path to Buddhahood, you know.
correct, yes.
And then what else? They teach about the Amitabha Sutra.
Amitabha
They,
Sutra.
yeah, yes. They teach about all these things lah. Yeah, but not. But I felt that Six Patriarch Platform Sutra is really wonderful.
Yeah,
In terms
for
of
cultivator of the way, you will
yes,
like the Six Patriarch Black Horse Sutta.
yes, correct. It's very useful, very
It's so
practical, you know,
beautiful.
in that
Yeah,
sense. It's very
and he's
practical in for our cultivation, is it?
correct,
You know, and
correct.
but just like Brother Teo said, the three hallmark is actually very difficult to fully comprehend, you know,
Yeah,
from our
correct.
mundane mind point of view lah.
They
So
cannot
I want
penetrate on.
to
Mundane
yes,
mind cannot penetrate on.
yes, correct.
Mm.
So what I want to point out is that without Brother Tio's the awareness-based meditation, it cannot lead us to the true mind, you know.
Cannot,
Yeah,
no way.
because
Even
yes,
the first hallmark or no thought, they cannot understand on. They cannot go in.
correct. So the although the sutra tell you about the hallmark, right, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
tell
yeah,
you
yeah.
how to cultivate it,
Yes.
so Bratio able to tell us how to cultivate it
Yeah, yeah,
by
yeah.
explaining the
Correct. Yeah.
awareness-based meditation that
Yes,
bring
yes,
us
yes.
to the no thought, you know, to the
Yeah,
no thought,
yeah.
the first hallmark. So in that way, we straight away can go direct to the true mind, is it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Bypassing all
Yes, yes,
the
yes.
thought-based
Correct.
meditation,
The
you know,
method, the
the
technique,
method and technique lah, you know. So
and also
we
the object of meditation, all those things. Because
correct.
people use the mundane mind to note and use the
Yes,
mundane mind to read. Then from there
correct.
formulate the understanding. Then use the mundane mind to cultivate following series of instruction that they receive from other people. That's why all of this lead to thought-based verbalization and doing. Who do? The thought do. And who is the thought? That is the egoic mind, the mundane mind. And when you note and do with the thought become active. So how can you realize a state that is without thought when your thought is actively doing things, trying to know, trying to do, trying to come up with all the various concept and idea of what this meditation and teaching is. So thought-based has the problem of creating more thought, more knowledge. And from knowledge, you develop the heedless thinking. You want to like go through the duality of right and wrong, good and bad, especially right and wrong. Is this the correct teaching? Then how come the monk teach like that? How come the book say like that? Then how come the teacher teach like that? And then they confused already. It's nothing to do with all the thoughts description on it. When thought ceases, that is what you should find out. Without thought, who are you? The realization of that is very important. And when thought ceases, what arises? What remains? That's why the Kong An is without thought. Who are you? What are you? You are basically like Hui Ning say, nothing. 本来无一物. Originally, that nature is nothing. No word, no concept, no idea, no duality, nothing. Just that nature. And that nature is not a being. That's why it cannot come out and live life. But that nature is the awareness nature. That one is capable of creating the thinking mind, the mundane mind, giving rise to all this conditioned Dhamma. The conditioned Dhamma where the phenomenal world of consciousness arise. Then all things arise from there. And whatever that arise, the Buddha say, are dependent originating, condition arising, not a permanent unchanging entity. That's why it's anatta, empty, non-self. So all this understanding is not easy to comprehend. If you keep on chasing after this knowledge to develop the understanding, then you become more confused. Because more and more commentaries will give rise to more and more different type of teaching that appear very different and contradictory. And the worst is people come out with method and technique to define the meditation and the teaching, and it becomes worse. Your method and technique never define the meditation or the teaching, but the teaching has nothing to do with method and technique. Method and technique are skillful means to train the mind, because the mind wander off and they cannot cope with it, so they use method and technique to anchor the mind, to fix the mind. And all this nobody know. They continue to teach and share like that until the Buddhist society is teaching, even until present day, is still following method techniques and object of meditation and the series of instruction, the commentary, all that. But the true teaching, with the advent of winning, is not really understood and taught. And the problem with the six Patriarch Sutta is they give a lot of examples which are very good and very beautiful, but not much explanation. And most of the explanation where you read in the commentary, you need the enlightened being who have the understanding and the realization to understand it. Otherwise you cannot follow. You don't know what they are telling you. So it come and go as a knowledge. So they use it as a philosophy, to teach. They teach based on the thought process, the knowledge. Then from there, they believe, they have the understanding, then they share. That's why you go after all this type of sharing and teaching, like just now PG mentioned, which is very dry and very thought-based, you can never awaken, you can never understand, because this teaching cannot be taught this way. If it's taught based on all this thought-based thing, you cannot penetrate, you cannot realize. So these are the situation and condition that I saw before I came out to teach. That's why after 1989, I didn't do anything until the year 2004. Then when I finally decided to come out with the three conditions in the year 2004, I already knew all these problems. That's why I set the three conditions. Then it took me quite a while. I think next year, 2024, will be 20 years after 2004 where I come out. So it took me 19 years to come forth with the sharing until it is what is today. But the beauty was the recording that started. We should thank Sui An for getting all those good recorder. That time was 2007 or 2008, I think. Then after that, when it come to 2016, our website start to take off. Officially 2017, early 2017. At that time, things become different. Then also the transcript in the early years. It helps a lot. Then for it to evolve until now is not easy. But my nature rejoices because now people can understand and develop true progress based on my sharing and understanding. In the early years, very difficult. You have to follow what is commonly accepted. That's why I still teach based on the Dhamma book and all those things. But when I come to the three turning of the Four Noble Truths, the first reaction I have is hardly anybody understand. They never heard before. They told me, I say it's in the Sutta. Yeah, I say, but nobody taught like that. It's just like Huineng's teaching. Nobody taught like that. Like PG just mentioned, got mundane mind one. Mundane mind can collapse on. Oh, who can understand? Hardly anybody. So all this has evolved and become so beautiful. And you are also part of the thing, huh? Poh Cheng, that's why I rejoice, even you come later. Huh?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah,
Well,
so
Bharatio, what you say is really true, because a lot of teachings uh, is not very clear to me when I listen, when I listen to some kind of Dhamma sharing, Dhamma
yeah,
talk. I mean,
you will find that.
it's very beautifully phrased, but
Correct.
ultimately you cannot understand how do you cultivate that beautiful
Ah,
phrase, that beautiful
yes.
phrase,
Yeah,
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 that
yeah.
is the problem with the so-called Dhamma talk that I
Correct,
often listen
correct.
to. It's really beautiful, the phrase, wow, so
Yeah,
beautiful.
the
You
way
listen
you
already, you
phrase
very
the
mesmerized.
understanding,
You very
that truth,
mesmerized by
that
the phrase, but
surface
how
is
to
very
cultivate it?
penetrative.
Yeah,
So for
yes.
cultivator of the way, you only need to listen to all this penetrative truth. Then the nature will re-vibrate and rejoice inside there and say, "Oh, this is beautiful." Uh,
Yes, yes.
uh,
Correct. But Brother Teo, we need a great being that has gone through, the
oh, definitely,
cultivation,
definitely.
that
Otherwise, you
to
cannot have
teach,
all
to
this.
teach.
Yes,
That's why I think that that's the difference between Brother Teo's teaching and many others people's teaching,
yes,
because
very
you
true.
have gone through it, then we can use that, use that as a so-called evidence,
Yeah,
stand
yeah,
out to
yeah,
investigation, that
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
can we can follow, we can follow.
Yes,
Not that
yes,
to
yes.
say that we follow blindly, we are not following blindly, because
No, no, you
it
can
has been
investigate
proven.
on each one.
Yes, correct, correct.
And
You
you
can
can develop
investigate.
your own understanding. You
Yes,
see,
yes, correct.
everything fall into place so beautifully is because during the early years, that Heart Sutta, when Miss Lee came and invited me to Wu Ping Jing and share that 15 months of sharing, then finally come out with the transcript book. That Heart Sutta is very important. It is the first Heart Sutta book that link Theravada to Mahayana, and I explain it very clearly in the preface that there is no difference. Those who know Theravada can understand the Heart Sutta, the Mahayana teaching. You don't need additional information and understand. And the Heart Sutta is so beautifully and clearly explained and developed based on Theravada teaching and structure. No, mostly is based on the Theravada teaching and structure. And those who have the keenness, the faith, and the desire, or the strong virya to understand one another, once they lay their hand on that Heart Sutta, they read through, they go through, I tell you, they will rejoice. Well, a lot of very beautiful teachings are there, and they are all linked to the Theravada traditions, essential Dhamma. And that one, no doubt one, even Theravada will rejoice on. But the true teaching beyond the sainthood way, I never share that. I only share a bit here and there, a few things on it. That's why that Heart Sutta was an important text that I need to have first. Because before that, all the retreat you can recall, before the Heart Sutta book come out, means before your time, before you come, I every year have to teach from my nature, I just speak like that, Then I have to like photostat some of J. Krishnamurti's sharing. Then I share. Then I use the Dhamma, the Theravada tradition Dhamma, to actually explain them and all things. Then it turned out to be like something uh, more interesting and more easy to understand and comprehend. Then later on, when I did the sharing of the Heart Sutta, then when the transcript came back, when they decide to do one, because we finished the whole thing only, we decide to do one. No? So that time, luckily, all the short notes that we took, I edited one. They are all there. Then I look at it, I said, can be a very beautiful book where all the essential Dhamma that I need to teach and share for people to cultivate the sainthood way are there. That's why I wrote inside there, and I hint to a lot of Kayamita at that time. I said, no need notes already after that, because after that they still want to make notes. So I said, no need already, except for certain short note, for certain good transcript. Otherwise, no need already. Why? Because all the thing that you need is in the Heart Sutta. And that one is for the sainthood way, good enough. Because at that time I realized, even my nature doubt anybody interested in the Bodhisattva way, you know. But somehow very funny, you know, after Maitreya came 2008 with that message, then things starts to happen. No? Then the sharing become very different. No? Then in 2016, a lot of Kayamita wrote to me about the Bodhisattva way. That's why the book come about. I did some sharing based on 4 sharing only. The book came out. Cultivating the Bodhisattva way. And all this is like meant to be, you know. Then after that, the Bodhisattva path, the yellow card, the one that I supposed to share and teach based on the request of Maitreya, all came out. That's why it's meant to be, will be. And all this becomes so beautiful. And that time my nature rejoiced. I really rejoiced because everything just fall into place. Then a lot of you all that time still don't know what this thing is. That's why I hinted many times, even in the retreat and class sharing. When you come to know what these teachings are all about and what this nature is all about, you will get a shock of your life. You go back and check the recording, it's all there. So all this, for those who can understand, I can tell you, they really rejoice because these are rare teachings you cannot find even in books or other places. Very unlikely. Maybe have, but very few, very rare, very, very rare. So this is what the Dhamma is all about, what our sharing is all about. That's why slowly, more and more people starts to see the beauty and uniqueness of this Kayamita sharing. It's very, very different. Yeah, Poh Cheng, you continue. 4 minutes left.
Yeah. Thank you, Brother Teo,
Yeah.
for teaching us patiently and not giving up on us, after so many years, and I mean, only now that we realize all these teaching are so beautiful and
Yeah,
useful and help us in our cultivation, in transforming ourselves,
yes.
so that we can live our life beautifully and properly, with
Yes,
Dharma
yes, yes,
understanding,
yes,
not
yes.
heedlessly, wondering what happened to
Correct,
our life,
correct.
why our life is so bad or so
Yeah,
good, whatsoever,
yeah,
So
yeah.
we understand for what it is, that is happening in this life, and
Mm.
so therefore in future life we also will know what can happen in the future life as well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If we cultivate correctly, our future life will get better and better, in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sense,
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that is what you call consolation for us, is like whatever we learn, whatever we cultivate, will benefit us in the long run, Brother Teo,
yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
definitely.
So we should not give up on ourselves and in our cultivation. Brother Teo, I also have
Ah,
one thing that I read or the last week Sunday class
ah,
sharing, Brother Teo
ah,
mentioned on page 61 and 62.
ah.
Because I have a lot of compassion for my parents, especially
Ah,
my mother, for all the hard work that she did
yeah,
for our
yeah, yeah,
family, right? So
yeah.
I read this part when Brother Teo said, Brother Teo, on the end of page 61, it said, that is why when this nature of mind sees the start condition, it will manifest a pure wish to take them across. So to take your parents across, and to bring forth a condition for them to receive the Dhamma. And then my nature, the best way is to become their children. I mean,
they are my
this
parents.
yes,
That's it. Because
yes,
they will do their duty to look after me and all the other siblings of mine. They will do their duty. Then, for them to have such parami, do their right duty towards their own children, whose nature is like that. My nature will know already. When I invoke the power of merits, they sure take care of everything already. They will go through the sainthood way, everything. Then I also leave the thing open after that. Whatever they want to do with their life, they can still continue and do and live. They don't have to go the whole bodhisattva way. But good enough to free. Means after that, they have the understanding, their mind liberated, they want to continue the understanding of the Bodhisattva way they can, but they can take their time already after that, because they should be rewarded with the opportunity to live life, understand life, because every life you come with this understanding, you can become very beautiful and very unique and very amazing, and life can become wonderful. That's why all these are possible. So it's very true. Oh, lucky you pick up that one. Yeah, that one very few you can pick up. So because of your gratitude towards your mom, yeah, even your father too, you can invoke power of marriage. Because this one I must share with you. You have to slowly evolve it. You must have that nature, the understanding. Then you can choose them. Understand or not? Yeah. Before that, not easy. Like now, maybe you can make the pure wish. You say, in times to come, when you have that nature and that type of understanding, then you would like to give rise to a pure wish, for them to become your parents again. Then, because of their good nature, they will know how to take care of you. And then that time, because your cultivation, your nature differently, you invoke power of marriage, it will happen. Then that life, when you come, if you have made the decision, that choice, and chosen them, you will know one. Everything fall into place. Like my this, like I know one. I choose my parent. Because that spiritual nature, the karmic nature, the understanding will come, and all the causes and conditions behind, you can see very clearly, My father and mother are not educated one, illiterate, especially my mother. When he come over to Malaysia, even 0 to 9, she don't know how to write or no. She learned how to write her name and 0 to 9 when she was in Malaysia. Then my father only got 1.5 years of education in China. The rest all he learned himself. So a lot of these things, you reflect back, their past and all that, then I can sense, I can see that how they bring me out and all this thing, and how the thing unfold. Your nature will know. Then when I reach the age when I supposed to search, I think I was in Form 4, Form 5, I remember, when I know science. Then that mind search, Then after that, a lot of things start to happen to me. Then somehow that thing unfold. Then in between also there are some who met me when I was still Form 4, Form 5. I think the old man I told you, 80 years old past, but he stared at me for half an hour plus. Then he walked into my shop, looked at me. Then my mother saw. Then he said, "Ape, what are you doing?" He said, your son. He said, "Look at here. Wow, he got put he know, I have affinity to Buddha. That's why at that time, he gave me that thing. And he advised me. He said, You keep this. He said, I give it to you. A lot of strange things happen. Then later on, when I go through life, I experience a lot. I saw a lot of things. Then when I connect, after 1989, everything become clear. Then I inherit back my past, my nature. Then I saw, I recall everything. So all these things are possible. They are very beautiful. And this is what the teaching is all about. It's so amazing. Okay, Poh Cheng, you can do it.
But what I mean is, because my parents already passed away, right? So can
Yeah,
I
no problem. Not this life.
not this, I cannot invoke a pure wish anymore, is it? Because they passed away already.
Can, but what I want to explain to you is, before you have that nature develop, they become your parent. Not much use, understand or not? You cannot invoke that pure wish, but you can prepare yourself this life by having that pure wish that in future, when your nature has the ability, you want to take them across, basing on your nature's ability. Then you express your gratitude towards them for what they have done for you. You recall to mind everything. Then like you make the Bodhisattva vow, same with the faith, everything. You vow to take them across. Because that Bodhisattva vow now can have the power to let you make that vow to take them across. Then later on you will come to understand, not only this parent, whoever we had been your parent, who has done you a lot of, given you a lot of love, a lot of care, sacrifice everything, you vow to take them across. You will be able to do that. And a lot of this thing is based on your understanding, then you can manifest. Because when I saw my parents, I remember in the past, they were very simple people, but they don't know who I am. They don't know what my nature is. But they helped me. Then, because that time I was already a cultivator, I had that nature. Then my nature rejoiced. That's why that time I sent a pure wish to take them across. And when I decide to arise, I know, I set the timing already. Then I want them to be my parents. I just make the pure wish. That's why this life, when I come, they are my parents. And everything fall into place. So when I say when you need that nature and the understanding is because of this. So clear, Poh Cheng?
Yes, very clear. Thank you, Bratio. Yes, it helps me a lot to have this understanding and how to develop
I rejoice
this.
when you have
Yes,
that
rejoice.
good mind
Yes.
to
Yes,
help your parents.
Yes,
Who have
sadhu,
actually
sadhu,
developed
sadhu.
a lot of wholesomeness towards your sadhu. Very good.
Yes, sadhu. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
very helpful. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. That's about
Anything
it.
else?
Yes, thank
That's
you.
all. Okay.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Sadhu. Let us rejoice.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.
Sadhu,
Sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah, we should end 6:07 already. Okay. Let us recall to mind all of the wholesomeness that we have developed and performed, and also through our sharing everything. Then we like to delegate and share these merits with all beings, starting with the Devas. Akasata Chya Bhumata Deva Naga Mahindika Punyang Tang Anumoditwa Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasana Etawata Jamehi Sampadan Punya Sampadan Sabbe Deva Anumodantu Sabba Sampati Siddhya Idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontunya tayo. Idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontunya tayo. Idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontunya tayo. Devo vasatu kalena sasa sampati hetu cha vito bhavatu loko cha Raja Bhavatu Dhammiko อิมินาปุญญังกามินะมามิบาลาสมากโมสัตตังสมากโมโหตุยาวะนิวานาปาทิยาสาธุสาธุสาธุ Okay, you all can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Guan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we shall end this whole Zoom session. Thank you for your good participation and all the good sharing and wholesomeness. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.